morning, everybody. Happy New Year! Yay, it's 2022. I hope everybody had a great New Year's celebration. I was away, I was in Florida. I was one of those people whose flight got canceled, so I have actually just returned to work. Trying to catch up on all the things that I missed. My team has been here. They have been working. A lot of things went out last week, this week, so we're hard at work. Very cold in New York City today. I'm not liking that. It's much better in Florida. But that's besides the point. Okay, things I want to talk to you about today. One, let's talk about EOIR, Immigration Court. We just got email this morning in terms of New Jersey. We're talking about Newark, New Jersey Immigration Court. They are doing only virtual appointments. No reason to go to court in Newark, New Jersey. Do not confuse it with USCIS interviews. If you have court in Newark, New Jersey, you will not be appearing in person. You should contact your attorney, or if we are your attorney, contact us. When it comes to New York, things are a lot more complicated. There are a lot more judges, and they seem to all make, not all, I'm exaggerating, but some of them have their own rules. For example, we have judges who complying with the standing order, which means, no in-person appearances. And there are judges who we have to call because they're brand new. They're not on any of the previously released information. We'll call the court, we find out. For example, we have a few appearances next week, and all of them are virtual except for one where the judge is actually asking to appear in person for a master. So it is not because we don't know. It's not a lack of knowledge on our part. It is a very fluid, ever-changing situation. So yes, sometimes we don't know even 3 days before the court whether your court is going forward or not. But we always operate under the assumption that the court is going forward. We're submitting, we're preparing, we're doing, we're writing. Whatever needs to be done is done. But sometimes we find out that the court is not going forward literally the night before, or sometimes even the morning after. It is post or during, depending on your belief, COVID times. So you, so to speak, have to roll with it. Sometimes the court doesn't know whether they're going forward or not, right? Staff gets positive tests, somebody was exposed, all of a sudden the judge is not doing hearings, or we've had a roll of closures of the entire courts for inclement weather, for suspicion of COVID. So these things are very real, and I just want to make sure to let you know that we always operate under the assumption that your court is going forward. But we tell you we don't know for sure so that you're not surprised. And it's not because we're not prepared, it's because the court themselves don't know if they're going forward. What is WebEx? WebEx is a system that the immigration court is using to allow secure, safe logins for essentially like what I'm doing with you right now, right? The judge, the government attorney, you, me, and the interpreter are all logging into the same virtual courtroom, and the hearings are happening virtually. It has its pluses and minuses. I like it for masters. They're faster, they're easier, they're more convenient. I can't say that I like it for individuals. I think there's nothing like hearing a live testimony in court. So as much as possible, I would want to avoid that. But that's not always up to us. There are hearings for which I don't mind doing a WebEx because I know they're going to be fast, easy, and the client is going to get a positive result, and there's no reason to postpone the hearing. There's just no reasons for it. But sometimes there are reasons and there are benefits to having an actual in-person hearing. Okay? that's that. In terms of USCIS Saturday interviews, we actually have had a few. If you get a notice in your mail that you have an interview with USCIS in New York and you look at it and the date is Saturday, that is not a mistake. The USCIS has told us that at least through January, possibly February, they will be interviewing Saturdays in order to catch up on their backlog. Okay? They're usually not bad, they're quite fast. Everybody wants to be out of there on Saturday, but those interviews are real. They are not a mistake. If you get one, call us. On the same note, I have to reiterate something to you. USCIS is a government body. They're not end all, above all. They make mistakes. Sometimes they say they've sent something when they didn't. Sometimes they we've had this happen before. They put wrong dates of birth. They've put wrong countries of birth on documents, even though we check our application and everything is correct on it, but mistakes are made. Okay, they're fixable. The most important thing is you have the work authorization, you have the green card. If USCIS has made a mistake and put a wrong date of birth on it, or put a wrong country of birth on it, or something like that, those things are fixable. No reason to freak out. You have the benefit. Just because the work permit has the wrong date of birth doesn't mean it's not valid, right? But the mistakes, when they're made by immigration, do not get fixed overnight. It takes months and months and months and months for them to issue new ones, for them, to do it. It is, as they say, the wheels of the government, they turn slow. So I want you to please be patient. We are able to fix those things. But we need patience because it does take time. And again, we are trying to help you. And if it wasn't our fault, we still are trying to help you, but sometimes there is a reasonable delay. They're processing hundreds of thousands of applications, so there is a wait time associated with it. Okay. In terms of immigration reform, there hasn't been any immigration reform. There has been a loosening and reversion to previous rules. There has been a lot of things that happened that allow some cases to go forward that haven't gone forward. But there is no blanket reform that has allowed everybody to stay here legally and get green cards. That just has not happened. I don't see it happening the way things are going on in Congress right now. My hope is at most that they actually going to pass something for DACA kids, and hopefully they will continue to allow more and more groups of people get work permits. Although, one can hope, but who knows? So please understand, there has not been a reform. If you go somewhere and they're like, oh, pay us this much money and we guarantee something like that is gonna happen, I would take it with a grain of salt. If you've been in this country for 20 years and no one has ever been able to get your work permit, and then all of a sudden somebody says, I'm not saying those cases don't exist, but just take it with a grain of salt and always check your applications. We send you our applications to review before they send them out for a reason, because if I had $1 for every time a person comes to me and says, oh, I just signed, I don't know what was in it, I didn't know they used the wrong name, the wrong date of birth, wrong country, they told them that I was married when I've never been married, like, those things unfortunately happen all the time. So just to reiterate, there hasn't been any blanket immigration reform. I wish there was. I think it could help a lot of people, even if it's a mild one. I wish they started doing something a little by little instead of waiting for everything to be done at the same time, so they can help a few people rather than not help anybody at all because they're waiting for some magical big reform. So that's that. We're very excited about the new year. We hope things are going to start progressing as they are now, and more things are improving. We are prepared just in case to work fully remote. We have everything in place for that. We have every type of communication you can have to do all video calls. We literally never need you in our office. We could do everything remote, from submissions to preparations to signatures can be mailed and stuff. So I don't want you to feel discouraged just because there is a uptick of cases, and if you don't feel comfortable leaving your home, or you don't feel comfortable going and sitting in an office for an extended period of time, we are prepared to accommodate you. We're fully prepared to be remote. In fact, I have several people working remote from home. So things keep happening. Immigration's not stopping. There's no closures. There's no lockdowns. Everything is in full force. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us. As always, this video is going to be available on YouTube. We post things periodically to update you of any new developments. We'll post something today. Oh, important thing that I forgot, I'm sorry. In terms of vaccinations, this is very important. People keep asking me. I just want to clarify something. For example, if you're applying for a green card here in the United States and you are required to submit a medical, that medical has to have proof of 2 complete doses of, or 1 dose, depending on which vaccine you took, of COVID-19 vaccination. There are exceptions if you have medical exception, right? If you're allergic or you cannot take the vaccine, and there is a medical proof, a letter from the doctor that shows that you're exempt from taking the vaccine, that is accepted. And of course, there are religious and deeply held convictions exception. We do have freedom of religion in this country, but it has to be a deeply held religious belief. It has to be expressed in writing. We do not write those for you. They have to be your words, your deeply held religious beliefs. We can help you with the language in terms of just correcting grammar and stuff like that, but we don't provide them. They're not something we're drafting for you. And there are something that is something that is granted on an extremely limited basis. They're not blanket. If you write, I don't want to do it because I don't want to do it, that's not going to be granted. Okay. In terms of embassies, we just got an email from Ecuador, Guayaquil. They're now requiring proof of vaccination for anybody 12 and older to enter the U.S. Embassy for whatever reason, whether you're getting a passport, a visa, a tourist visa, doesn't matter, right? So just to reiterate, they're not requiring proof of vaccination to issue the immigrant visa, but they are requiring proof of vaccination to enter the U.S. Embassy building, which means that the government has deemed that there's enough available vaccines in that part of Ecuador that anybody who's seeking services through the U.S. Embassy has reasonable access to the vaccine, and will have to show proof of such, 12 and older. Okay, if you have any questions about that, please give us a call, because that would apply for people leaving to Ecuador who have, for example, 601A waivers approved and now going to the U.S. Embassy in Ecuador. They will have to be fully vaccinated to enter the building for the purposes of the interview. Okay, this is a new development, just got an email this morning. So if you have any questions, as always, give us a call. We'll clarify it for you. I hope everybody stays safe and warm. It is super, super cold outside, so get some hot tea. like I have over here. I hope you have a great, productive January. I hope everybody has their goals set for January 2022 and for the entire year. And I hope it's going to be just as amazing as 2021 was. I'll see everybody next Thursday. Thank you for watching.